Hi guys. It's a Monday, and it's on a Monday when we normally think about making changes in our life. That's when we start our week and we say, this week our lives are going to be different. Our behaviors are going to be different. Our mindset's going to be different. We're going to achieve the great things that we have thought about all weekend, right? And the greatest kind of description of insanity is trying to do the same thing again and again and again in the same way and expecting a different result every time. Well, let me kind of just talk to you about change and say, if you want to be the person you want to be, then there are some things that you have to kind of think about. And in order to think about that is we have a tendency to look at our weaknesses and focus with a zero-like, laser-like approach on those weaknesses. And when I'm talking and coaching people on change, I often say to them, forget about those weaknesses. Let's talk about your strengths. Let's talk about the wonderful person that you actually are, the brilliance that is you. And let's talk about how we stretch those strengths, how we take those strengths and we make them bigger and stronger and more robust. And thereby, we are minimizing the weaknesses. But as we go through that process, I know that one of the biggest competitions that I will have in helping you get to the change that you want to see or to be the change you want to see is your own mindset. Right? And the voice in your own mindset. And the negative self-talk that will be going on in your mindset where you'll say, I can't do it, I don't want to do it, I've tried it before and it's failed, I'm not good enough. But we'll talk ourselves out of that which we want to achieve. The second thing is you will make negative assumptions. You will make assumptions that are not reality. My father-in-law is a perfect example of that. Every time he wants to go take his car out, the first thing he starts thinking about is parking because he knows he won't be able to get a parking spot. Right? Or that the traffic will be bad. So those negative assumptions, we have to challenge them, we have to fight them. We're negative about the past. We look at the past and we look at the mistakes that we've made before, or we've looked at the challenges or the problems that we had, and we have a tendency to extend those right into the future. And I say to you, you cannot extend the past into the future. Yes, you've got to learn from it. Yes, you've got to take lessons from it. But you've got to move on. You've got to be present here right now. And you've got to step into the future that you want to see. We're negative about people. We make these assumptions about people, be they good or be they bad. Yes, some people are jerks. Yes, some people are bullies. But in the majority, most people will respond to positivity. And if you approach the subject with positivity, if you approach them with positivity, you will find that they're very receptive to that. We put in place negative deflections. An excuse is never more important than to the person who's making the excuse. And what I mean by that is that too often, when the going gets hard, we give up too quickly. Most people give up almost at the point of success. So we've got to be very self-aware, and we've got to be very centered, and we've got to be in the present, and we've got to challenge ourselves on a constant basis. We're negative about ourselves. We're unforgiving to ourselves. We don't understand that mistakes happen. Yes, we screw up. But what we've got to do is to allow ourselves to move on, to forgive ourselves, and to move on, to take the learning and to move on. Now, when I talk about, change, it is your imperfections that make you beautiful. And too often, we strive for perfection and that will never be us. We will never achieve it. It is our imperfections that make us beautiful. Let me tell you about Hia Li. Hia Li, was born with 2 digits on each hand. She was born, right, with a lack of mobility below her knees. When she was born, she was amputated, right, because of that lack of mobility. She was born in South Korea, and her future looked very bleak. And her mother decided that, what would be good for her was to learn how to play the piano, because it would strengthen the digits in her hand. So she went to learn the piano, and she got a love for that piano. And now she's an international pianist, with over 2,000 appearances and a fantastic musician. And what I'm saying, and the kind of moral of the story, is to take the strengths that you have, is to build on the strengths that you have, it's to stretch the strengths that you have. is to drive those strengths forward. And in that way, you will affect change much more positively than just talking about the imperfections and what you're going to do about them. So from me, from today, thank you very much. Until next time, bye-bye.